Hey, it's Brad. It's the afternoon of October the 18th. I'm up in a new tree stand to you. This tree stand is in my very first hidden food plot that I created back in 2022. And I just saw a deer move. So hold tight. All right, so I'm back. That was not expected. It turned out to be a relatively small doe. I'm guessing a yearling. I saw her tail flick and just caught my attention. So I looked over to where I saw that, and I couldn't get any footage of it because she was a couple yards into the woods, and we have a lot of smaller oak trees here, and they tend to hold their leaves longer. So the camera just couldn't capture her, and she wasn't moving hardly at all. So I was able to check her out with my binoculars, see what she was, and she just kind of sauntered off. Not really super surprising because this area not far away is a pretty good bedding area, which is why we have this food plot here. We'll talk about that in a minute, but wasn't anticipating seeing a deer this early, being that it's this warm and this time of year, but you just never know. So I'm glad I was already up here and got a chance to see the deer move. We're definitely hoping for more later. Let's talk a little bit about this particular food plot. It is actually my very first food plot that I installed here at the property. I did so in 2022. I had to take down about 30 trees or so. They weren't real big, but we had some row planted trees that were put in or planted about 20 years ago. So they're pretty decent size, but big enough that we needed to remove them in order to create the space for this particular food plot. And I've been very, very happy with it. It's about 1/4 of an acre, so not real big, but it has been the plot where I have, or not the plot, but the place where I've taken all my does since we purchased this property. And the reason that I've done that is because it is ideally located at the fringe of the property. It takes me about 5 minutes to get from my truck to this particular food plot. It's right off the creek, so I can get here pretty quickly and quietly and sneak up and down, and it's great. It's a pass-through plot, which is what you want for a majority of your plots. You want them to be pass-through plots, that they're not here very long. And that's precisely what's happened the last couple of years, and they tend to these does tend to bed not far away, and this is the first place they stop on their way to their major food sources. So it's a really strategic thing that we've done, and it really minimizes our intrusion to the rest of the property and leaves that as fresh as possible. One thing that is different about this particular plot is we have some switchgrass in here. Now, I did try to plant some switchgrass during this season to varying success. Some of my timing wasn't good. We actually had a lot of rain earlier in the spring, and I had some issues of getting my equipment certain places that I'm going to cover in a couple episodes coming up. But here I was able to plant switchgrass, and you can see here that it came up very, very good. It's doing exactly what I was hoping for it to do. A couple reasons why we do the switchgrass. Number one is we ring the outside of the food plot because we want to shield the deer from the deer. What I mean by that is that in the past, from the varying areas around this food plot, if a buck is looking for a doe and he is just kind of searching, he's on the rut, he's searching for does, he can just look real quick, there's nothing there, he can move on. And if he can't see because of the switchgrass, he's going to be needing to come into the food plot to double check, so which is what we need. I don't have any area in this food plot where I don't feel comfortable taking a shot. So if I can get a mature buck into this area, it's exactly what I wanted to do. The other reason we want to put this switchgrass in, even though it doesn't really apply to this particular plot, is it will shield the food plot from people, whether it's roads or trees that have lost other leaves, so it's very easy to see into that plot from other areas or other properties. That switchgrass hides the food plot and ultimately makes the deer more comfortable. So really recommend switchgrass, and we'll talk about more about that next season. During habitat season, we're going to go out and do this in a couple different areas as well, including our brand new plot where I definitely need it because I'm pretty exposed when I access my tree. All right, so it's about 5:15. We got about an hour and a half. Hopefully there'll be some other deer that come in here. We've seen a lot of activity on the trail cameras in other areas of the property, which is awesome. We want that to continue to happen, keep the activity farther away. And yeah, we'll see what happens, so stay tuned. So that was definitely the deer that I saw in the woods when we first started the interview. After she came out to the plot, I think she was likely an early born fawn that has her winter coat. She was not very big, so I would have definitely guessed she was born this year. So still pretty cool to see the activity. I want you to pay attention to what she did with the licking branch. So that's why we put it as low as we do, because even the smaller deer, including the fawns, they use that licking branch as communication by rubbing their preorbital glands. She was trying to get up as high as she could to communicate, so that was really pretty cool behavior. So going back to this food plot, she did exactly what we anticipate would happen, where they would come in, eat a little bit, then leave. She probably spent about a half hour here. If she was big enough, gave me plenty of opportunities to shoot if I wanted to. Again, from a practical standpoint, she was way too small. If I'm here just to fill the freezer, she's not going to feed much. So she's definitely going to walk. It's about 6 o'clock, and that means we have about 45 minutes, 50 minutes left of shooting light. So there's still a chance that we could have another group come through, and if so, we'll see if there'll be a little bit bigger than that one. So let's wait and see. This is a beautiful time of day. The sun is dipped below the tree line, and it's just great. Love being out here. Let's see what shows up. Well, that was close. We almost had a doe. She was pretty nervous coming in. There was some racket going on behind me in the creek. She kept looking over that way and popping her head up. I was reaching over to get my bow. And just at that moment, she popped her head up. And I think she busted me. Oh well. Hopefully you caught it on camera. It was pretty dark, but yeah, we have about 5 more minutes here, and it was a fun night. It really was. I was hoping to connect the dots tonight, but it did exactly what I was planning on. Hear that howl? That's cool. Exactly what this plot does is they come in quick, stay for a little bit, then leave. And unfortunately, the timing of this dusk activity behind me may have messed with me, but that's why they call it hunting and not shooting, right? All right, we're going to wrap it up. It's a fun night. Hopefully we'll get a chance tomorrow night. Thanks for watching.